Alright, hey everybody, welcome! Today is Monday, it's Memorial Day, so we are off work today, so what better thing to do than make one more cake. I've got one left, and it's for a special friend of mine. We're going to deliver it over to him today, and we're going to do a mirror glaze. I'm going to show you how I made that, so if you want to watch, just pay attention and stay tuned. Alright, so here's our final cake that's left. This is ones I made last night for the cake auction. We have one left here. One thing about these cakes, you've got to make sure your top is pretty much flawless, perfectly smooth. If it's not perfectly smooth, it will show through in your glaze. So a little bit of edges hanging over here, but that's fine. I'm not worried about that. And what you're going to need is something to set the cake on. I'll just use a pot or a little pan. Put that upside down on top of a cookie sheet. This is what you're going to put the glaze on, so it drips off onto here, not on your counter. You're going to need some food coloring. This is good commercial, high quality grade food coloring. So this is very concentrated. I'll only use a little bit, but if you don't have that, just use the regular store-bought stuff. Works fine. You're going to need a thermometer because your glaze needs to be 91 to 94 degrees when you pour it. So you're going to need one of those to tell what the temperature is. I've got a cake spatula. You don't need this necessarily. You can use a long knife. I'm going to use that just to cut the drips off the bottom. Alright, and so for our ingredients, we're going to have some water, which for the water, now this calls for grams. Everything in this recipe calls for grams, so what you're going to need to get is a scale. But I know a lot of people don't have a scale, don't want to buy a scale just to make this. So what I did is I went and measured everything out in grams and then put it in the cups for you so you know approximately what it is. But if you have the grams, it's better to measure it exactly because baking is a specific art. It's specific amounts, exact amounts, so the better off you are getting grams, the better you'll be. But the water is 150 milliliters of water, which is basically 1/3 of a cup. So 1/3 of a cup here of water. And then we've got our sweetened condensed milk. The recipe calls for 200 grams, and actually it's just shy of a 1/4 cup. Just shy of a 1/4 cup, not much less, but just a little bit. So just shy of a 1/4 cup. You're going to need 3 packets of gelatin. This is the Knox gelatin. Each packet's a 1/4 ounce, so 3/4 of an ounce of that, 3 of those. You're going to need a 1/2 cup of water for the gelatin to bloom it. We'll do that in a second. You're going to need some white chocolate chips, or if you want chocolate, use chocolate chips. But I'm using the white so I could change the color of it. And this is basically 1 1/4 cups. The recipe calls for 350 grams. But this is actually 1 1/4, just shy of 1 1/4 cups. If you do 1 1/4 cups, you're not going to hurt anything. And as far as the sugar goes, it calls for 300 grams of sugar, which is approximately 3/4 of a cup. So 3/4 of a cup of that. I got the water, the gelatin. That's all we need to make our glaze. We got our pan there to cook it in, and a spatula. Only thing we need else is a strainer. So we'll get that in a second, and let's get busy cooking this. Alright, welcome back. First thing we're going to do is take our gelatin, our 3 packs of gelatin. Again, this is the Knox gelatin, unflavored gelatin. Take these 3, you're going to open them up, and you have to bloom the gelatin. And all that basically means you're just going to put it in some water, and you're going to let it sit there. So we have 1/2 cup of water right here. 1/2 cup of water goes in here. And with 1/2 cup of water, just dump the gelatin in. That's all you got to do. Super simple. Dump the gelatin in. Take a spoon, stir it up. That's all you got to do. It's going to get kind of nasty. And this stuff doesn't smell very good, by the way. But it tastes good and uses it when you, well, it shouldn't have any flavor, I should say. But it works out good in your recipes, let's say that. This is how you get that nice, thick consistency for your glaze. So just want to stir it up like this and just let it sit. That's all you do with it, so put that aside for now. Put that over there out of the way. Okay, next, what we're going to do, we're going to take our pan on the stove. We're going to turn this to like medium-low heat. First thing we're going to do, we're going to add our water. Our water goes in the pan. Get my little cheat sheet here. Alright, so for our water, this is, again, 150 milliliters, which is basically 1/3 of a cup. So 1/3 cup of water goes in there. Now we're going to take our sugar, which goes in next, which is 3/4 of a cup of sugar, or 300 grams. That's going to go in there as well. And to that, we're going to add our sweetened condensed milk. and this is 200 grams, or basically a quarter cup, just shy of a quarter cup. So we're going to take this and put this in there. Get the sweetened condensed milk. You should get all that scraped off into there. I'm going to get it all out. Make sure you get it all out. Okay, put this in the sink, get a bit of these. Okay, now while this is going here, I'm going to go ahead at this time, I'm going to get out a spoon so I can stir this up. I'll get this mixed up in here. All we're going to do is get this mixed up, and we're going to heat this just till it starts to bubble. Once it starts to bubble or just start to boil, you're going to take it off the heat, and we'll go to the next step. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's just starting to boil. Just starting to boil. So what we're going to do now is take this off the heat. Stir just a little bit, just for a second longer here. You see the little bubble start to form. You can hear it. There we go. See the little bubbles, if you can see that or not. So we're starting to do that. We're going to take it off. Now what we're going to do next, we're going to add in our 350 grams of chocolate chips. These are going to go in next. Basically it's 1 1/4 cups is what it is. So the 1 1/4 cups of this goes in there. And all you're going to do is just going to stir this up. Stir it all up real good until it melts. The liquid is hot, it should melt pretty quick. Throw this in there. You stir it so all the white stuff in here disappears and blends in. So this is essentially all your glaze is right here. This is pretty much ready to go. If you want to just put this creamy color on there, you can go with that, but you want to add some color to it to make it look nice. And we're going to use red and white. Okay, I think that's mixed in pretty good. So that's our finished product right there. And the thick soupy stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take this. I'm going to grab my strainer. I have a strainer. I have a bowl right here. I'm going to hold this over the bowl. I'm going to strain this into the bowl. I'm going to do about half of it in this bowl. And I saved just a little bit to go in another bowl. Put that over here. And the other half will go in this bowl. That's pretty much all of it. Just once that's strained, you're done with that part. Set that aside. Now we're ready to add our food coloring. Use the same spoon you started with. So we got just 2 bowls. We're going to add in our food coloring. One we're going to do a white, which is the smaller one. Drop in a couple drops. This is really concentrated, so don't use too much of this. Stir it up. And add a little bit more white. And always add more, you can't take it out, so be sparingly with it. Keep adding white to get the consistency you want. Or color, I should say. I'm horrible with words. And we're stirring this in, stirring this in. Okay, there, we got our white. Our white is finished. Now I'm going to go ahead and change spoons. Then I want to put the white spoon in my red. Get a clean spoon. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take some of my red. Put a few drops of red in here. Again, start small. Well, it's just not coming out here. Whoop. Oh well, I'm going to have a deep red. And there's our red. Now this is ready to go on the cake once it reaches the 91 degrees. If it's not 91 degrees, don't pour it on. This is really hot, it won't work. So 91 degrees is the optimal temperature you're looking for. There's our beautiful deep red mirror glaze. Doesn't that look beautiful? All right. So we're going to set this aside as well. Now we're going to get our cake. And once we get our cake, we're going to get the pan, we're going to get everything ready, and we're going to pour it. Oh, I forgot to tell you one important step. The bloom gelatin, I forgot to tell you about this. You put this in as soon as it starts to boil on the stove. Put this in, I forgot to mention that part, I put this in already. So you take the gelatin, put it in as soon as it starts to boil, take it off the heat, put it in, melt this in real quick, and melt super quick. And then you add the food coloring. I forgot to mention that step, that's very important. You have to have the gelatin. Okay, we've got our cake out of the refrigerator. It is on top of this pan. And there's our pan, sit on top. And all the purpose of this is so the glaze runs off and drips into the pan. And we got our thermometer here. We're going to go ahead and check our temperature. See where we're at. Alright, it looks pretty good. So we're good temperature-wise. So whatever color you want to start with, we're going to start with the red. Okay, so I'm going to take the red, and you want to start with a good stir before you do that. You want to start on the outside edges, and just pour it around the edges, and let it run down and over all the cake. That's those edges I was talking about that are showing through. So take all this out. Now that's our first color. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take our secondary color, which is our white. We're just going to drizzle this on there. Start it out here and then run it across. Make some lines or designs like that. You can have some drips if you want in there. Just be creative, whatever you want to do. And that's pretty much our whole glaze. And as this continues to melt, it'll run off the pan. And it's going to look amazing. I'll hold this up so you can see it better. There is our beautiful mirror glaze cake. And again, play with the colors, play with the design. You can take a palette knife, run across the top, change the color of it, give it some marbling effects. But as this melts, the colors will kind of groove in together. So let it sit there for a minute, let it continue to drip. As it drips, you want to take your knife, and there's no drips, just come along the bottom and just cut these drips off once it sets for 4 or 5 minutes. After that, put it in the fridge, and you're ready to enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Enjoy your Memorial Day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.